Two things I think stand out to me. Number one, the Broncos brought in their first and only out-of-house signing so far, former Dolphins safety Brandon Jones. I really like this signing, Chad. We can get into the specifics in a second. They also lost, as we all suspected, Lloyd Cushenberry signed a huge multi-year deal with the Tennessee Titans. I believe it was $12.5 million per year. So good for Cush, but the Broncos were never going to pay that money. They also brought back kicker Will Lutz on a 2-year deal. I'll have the story for the website after the pod tonight. It was originally reported, Shad, that he signed a 3-year contract with the Jaguars to replace ... Brandon McManus, and then he had a change of heart last minute. Lutz did and came back to the Broncos on a 2-year deal. They also officially re-signed PJ Locke, and that's about it for today.
Yeah, so how surprised were you? I mean, we knew the Broncos had to have some kind of a plan at safety, right, with the big monumental decision to release Justin Simmons. Obviously, we knew they brought back PJ Locke on a 2-year deal over the weekend. That was a thing. But were you at all surprised? I mean, they created a lot of cap space with all these different moves. If you go to the tracker at milehighhuddle.com, you'll be able to kind of recount how we got there. But were you at all surprised that they not only had the coin to get after this, but like decided to spend? I mean, it's not a huge contract. It's a far cry from what Simmons was making, but this money on Jones.
No, well, they needed a starter, and they can't depend on Caden Stearns. You can't depend on DTY, and you can't depend on JL Skinner, and you don't want to convert Riley Moss. So you got someone who's younger than Simmons at a fraction of the cost that Simmons was costing the Broncos, and a player who graded out, Chad, in my little research, as the 16th best safety according to Pro Football Focus out of 95 qualifiers. Where was Simmons? 42nd. This guy is good in pass coverage. He's good as a blitzer rushing the quarterback. He's a heat-seeking missile with a nose for the ball. And we've talked about, just because the Broncos are rebuilding, they still have to field a team. And they're getting a guy who was not a tier 1 free agent. They didn't break the bank, but it's a nice little contract for a player that could end up being an upgrade on that Denver defense, quite frankly.